Behind the Mirror of Music with Dannii Cohen.
Hello and welcome to Behind the Mirror of Music. My name is Dannii Cohen. This week we are celebrating not just Les Miserables, but also our 50th episode. For this very special episode, Mike Sterling is returning to our show to talk about Les Miserables 39 Years of Phantom of the Opera and everything he's up to right now. Mike Sterling performed the roles of both the Phantom and Raoul in The Phantom of the Opera and Marius and Jean Valjean in Les Miserables. He also starred as Peron in Evita, a role to which he returned this year in a 55-piece orchestra production of Evita in Slovenia. Currently, Mike is set to tour with The Three Phantoms, a concert production starring him, Michael Colbourne, Kieran Brown, and special guest star Natasha Kemball, which opens in December. I hope that you'll enjoy the show. Okay, so hello, Mike. Welcome to the show.
Hello, how are you doing, Dannii? It's great to be here.
Thank you. Well, it's great to have you on our 50th episode.
Congratulations on your, I say, happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday, Dannii, for your 50th show. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
We'll say bon anniversaire. Is that right in Français?
Yes.
Yeah, all right. Tanto auguri per Italiano. But I'm part Italian, so I say that. Or Penblwydd Hapus, if you're Welsh. So, no, but it's been lovely. It's been lovely chatting to you. And, and it's an amazing thing you're doing. And I've done for quite a while now. And thank you, actually, for your solidarity and your support always for all things Phantom and obviously stuff I've done. And it's always a joy. So.
Well, thank you so much for returning to the show.
That's amazing. 40th of all these amazing musicals that are doing their anniversaries, and you've got your big 50 as well.
Yes, great. So, well, happy anniversary to Les Miserables, of course. And well, you've been really busy recently, haven't you?
It's been lovely. I never complain when I'm busy. We had that very long. Remember that long break the world had?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So we don't want to. When that's out of the way, then you kind of realize, yeah, it's sort of I need to be busy. So and it's great. It's been really lovely with Ireland tour, Spain tour, and then after Spain, going to Slovenia, to do Evita. So that was quite a surprise,
And I saw that you posted a new project coming up with the Three Phantoms.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, the Three Phantoms. The Three Phantoms has been. I did the very first one back in 2006 at the Wales Millennium Centre in Cardiff, and it was with the great veteran of the mask, Peter Carey, myself, and Scott Davis. And we did the very first one back at the Wales Millennium Centre, and we had people from the members of the Welsh National Opera as well. So it was a very varied program, obviously different musicals, and I sang some arias and things like that. So some quite funny. It was a funny day actually, because Peter, little anecdote. There was I went back to get changed for a piece. And it was about, in my head and in the running orders, about 4 songs time. So I thought, plenty of time to to get changed. Had to do complete change, you see. So then I heard the tannoy, and I heard like which is the intro of the Sole Mio, which and of course, without painting too much of a picture, I wasn't dressed. So very, very quickly, Peter had missed out about. I think he'd edited the show by 3 songs. We did them eventually, but just that's the importance of a running order. And I remember running down. I managed to get to the stage on time. So this was like the first one, the very first. There was no dress run. There was no. We just did it, you know. So stories and all, it was lovely. I got there. Took me about the first verse to get my breath back, but no, we had great fun on that, and lots of nice little memories to talk about at the restaurant or the bar after, you know. So nearly 20 years later now, um, my version of the Three Phantoms in concert is happening, and we are doing them at cathedrals. So that's quite exciting when you think what's in a cathedral? A big pipe cathedral organ,
Yeah.
which is, it's so that's you can't really do it anywhere else, can you? If you want that, you can't carry one of those around with you. So we're quite excited about that. And I've got myself, and it's Michael Colbourne, who is actually just come out of Phantom himself as Raoul, and he's been doing Phantom as well. A bit like I did back in the day. Remember, I said I used to do 4 hours and 4 Phantoms. Well, Michael was he took over as Raoul for a couple of months towards the end of the year, and then he was also on for Phantom occasionally as well. So he seemed perfect, really, to join us in this. And because he's younger than us, he's great for the Raoul stuff as well. You know, he's like the generation before, before myself and Kieran, of course, Kieran Brown, who's lovely, lovely, lovely guy. And he's done quite a few of these kind of concerts over the years with me. And so it's me, Kieran, Michael, as I said, and of course Kieran played at Phantom for quite some time. And we've got Tim Morgan is stepping in for just one performance on the 8th in Cardiff. Well, Tim Morgan is currently in the production of Phantom, and has done quite a few Phantoms in his time over the last. I think he's been there for about 10 years now. But I first met Tim back in the Manchester cast, so it'd be lovely to work with him again and have that nostalgia from 30 years ago.
Absolutely.
I know it's crazy, isn't it? To think when I first did Phantom, it'd only been running 9 years.
It's
Crazy, right?
so strange.
I know. No, actually, less than that, probably. Yeah, 8 years. I think it was 93 we opened. 7 years when I opened at Phantom. So, and now we're coming up, it's 39 years. So 40 years coming up. So, yeah, it was a lot. So it's quite a bit of history. And of course, Natasha Kemball is going to be doing the Christine part, and she's played it recently with me in a concert. I did a concert of Phantom of the Opera with some colleagues, and I revisited Raoul, just like a bit of a testimonial, and Natasha played Christine. But she also did a special performance in London with a big orchestra, the London Musical Theatre Orchestra of Phantom. But that was 18 months ago, something like that. And she did the Love Never Dies concerts with Norm Lewis at the Drury Lane. So she used to be our Christie, doing all the big flurries, all the big notes. So that's lovely. But she happens to be my other half as well. So, the promoter saves on a hotel room. So he's pleased about it. Yeah, no, it's great. I've been really busy, but yeah, I've recently, of course, I was in Spain doing these concerts, and I had a call while I was on my holiday just after I finished the concerts, because I always try and get a little break there as well. And I had a call, and they wanted me to fly to Maribor in Slovenia to play Peron, Juan Peron again in Evita, because I played it some time ago. And 8 rehearsals later, we opened. That was quite crazy, really. but nice, very nice people, beautiful people, you know, really lovely.
Was it easy for you to get back into the role that fast?
Well, I think quite a few people thought maybe because I played it before, I just come in, slot in, you know. But the thing is, with a role like Juan Peron, it's very awkward, and he's placed in certain parts of Evita, as you probably know. And nothing's easy about what he does. None of the notes are easy about what he does. Dramatically, it's really an actor's part that can sing. You know, I mean, generally is what we are, but it's very deep, and the presence required. You have to have this backstory. You have to have this subtext going on. You have to have your journey very clear. So you don't tend to those kind of roles. Different to Phantom, I could go on tomorrow, right? Valjean, I could go on tomorrow with a quick rehearsal, for argument's sake. Not Peron. It's not something you retain. Not really. It's so intense and so full on, psychologically, that it just kind of starts to drift away because, of course, you're moving on to other roles, you're moving on to other things. But these, like Fagin as well, no, I can't remember half of that. I can remember one song in it, and the rest of it, I'd have to have a full rehearsal again. But some roles stay, some roles drift, and Peron, and everyone's told me this, the same thing. He said, yeah, it's not one of these roles that stays. So I went in and with the book, first rehearsal, and I don't remember this. What is that again? Can you play that again? Maybe then oh yeah, I got that one. Yeah, the other one. It's really chromatic. The notes I've got, and I remember this. This was a real, chromatic, close, bit of a nightmare, line. But once you got it, it's in, So 2 days. It took me 2 days, and then I kind of got the gist of where I was again. But it's 7 years. It's 7 years, so it's a big. But once I got into it, and then because you can start to build your character again, because you're at a different place in your life, you'll build it in a different way. So it was slightly different again, I guess.
Yes, it's as you say, strange how certain roles can drift or always are always at the forefront of your mind.
Yeah, some you retain it. I mean, muscle memory then comes back once you go back into those areas. Then you go, that's how I used to remember how to pitch this. I remember that. Or even then, as I was going in and I was given new blocking, new staging and blocking, I remember finding myself, and I went to the other side of the stage, left side of the stage. So She's a Diamond, for example, but on the other hand, She's All They Have, that bit where he's having the meeting with his cabinet, I guess. I went right across to the other end of the stage. I don't know why. And then I realized that was my old blocking from 7 years ago. So once it ignites certain things, things start to come back. So I guess they're there. They're just sort of pushed to the side a bit to make space for the new stuff you're going to do. Until, of course, you revisit it again. It's like, don't remember this. But it's kind of nice in a way because you kind of reinvent it as well. So yeah, but it is one of those roles that it doesn't just stay with you and then you just go on tomorrow if you've missed it. Like in April, I'm going back in April to do it. Oh. And then we're doing some more performances in July. Because Ljubljana, which is the capital of Slovenia, heard about this and they came down and then they bought up, a good vast proportion of the production, for I don't know, for a couple of weeks or something. So yeah, as a result of that, it's gone on to other things. So it's fairly new there, all this kind of musical theatre tradition, which is very exciting for them. It's very exciting for me because it's sort of like like a rebirth, almost, but in somewhere where they've not had this kind of tradition. It's opera ballet. That's the thing. No, it was really beautiful people, though. I mean, lovely to work there. Beautiful place, great food, great everything was lovely about it. Really.
Yeah, like such a great opportunity to be part of the beginning of musical tradition there.
Yes, and I remember in China, I went to China in 2003, first of all, and that was the first ever fully produced musical in China with Lady in the Dark, which is a violent Gershwin piece,
Oh, yes.
and doing a very different role that I've ever done before when I played Russell Paxton in that, and on all the various characters that he plays in the dreams that happened. That was nice, but that was pioneering because they've had visiting production, like Cats has been there, but they come for a week and go out. But it's an established production that visits and goes. This was a fully produced Chinese production. So and then I went back with Oliver Fagan, same kind of idea. And then of course here we are in Slovenia, and it's very similar. It's very similar in that sense that it's you're normally a member of an opera company or a ballet company. You in musical theatre, which is not really there. You don't go and study to be a musical theatre artist. You know, at one of the colleges, it's either opera or it's ballet, or you know, any kind of different, I don't know, Slovenian music or whatever, but not musical theatre. So the tradition's not there. So you're either member of that. So to be going there as someone that's always done this and always had the opportunity to do this. Is quite exciting to them to think, wow, so this is, you know, God, this is what you've done. This is what you do. This is for 40 years or whatever. And I go, yeah, but it's always been established here. You know, well, it began in the UK to the West End, you know, sort of like Broadway kind of productions, you know, it was a sort of the place of birth. So so it's very exciting to be part of that new sort of growth there. And moreover, feel that excitement from everybody else of something brand new. And it's like, I guess, when the Beatles came out in the 60s, I mean, the world went crazy, you know, for them. So it was so cutting edge. It was so different. It was so new. So I guess it's a bit of the Beatles kind of scenario with this. So they're very excited about it. And plus we're doing it with a bigger orchestra than has ever been done. We are doing this 55-piece orchestra. So you hear Evita with all the harmonics with bells on. It's quite incredible. All the textures, you can imagine all that Andrew wrote and intended them, and he had all these different textures and sounds and harmonics. And I mean, obviously, when I did it with the Kenwright production, it was Evita's rock opera. It's a rock opera. It's very hard edge. It's lots of very difficult rhythms and time signatures and things like that. It's very rock, but it's also beautiful on the symphonic. It's got that rock edge. But we when we did it, we had like 12 musicians, but it was like really guitar featured heavy, trumpet featured heavy. Every musician, it was more like principal musicians having their thing, and it was very rocky, but still exciting, you know, in a different way. But this time, hearing our orchestra was just wow. And I remember thinking, I wish Andrew was here. He'd go, there we go. 55 players, just phenomenal, really.
He's often talking about how he loves the big orchestra, so it would be great if he could see it in the future at one time.
Yeah, that's right. The trouble is, they are on a SNG, which is the Slovenian National Theatre, and they're an established institute of people, you know, doing the produce the operas, they stage the operas, the ballets, and everything, and now the staging and producing this. So the orchestra is part of that. So obviously for them, it's a lot easier, and I guess more economical in that sense because these guys are on the payroll. You know, they're employed by them. So, but of course, you know, it doesn't work that way. You know, like with generally in musical theatre, even the Philharmonic, you know, use different players, you know, from different orchestras because some of them might be playing in Les Miserables, some might be playing in Phantom, some may be playing in Book of Mormon or Hamilton, or and they're full-time musicians. you have that in Slovenia, but not in the sense because, well, yes, it's not the musicals. You know, there's operas, but they're companies that, especially the Slovenian National Theatre, they're the main noise there, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
So it's not really in this country to put a West End show on with 55 players is not really economical. Mike Batt was a very brave man when he put on Hunting of the Snark. When the Hunting of the Snark went on, I think it was the Prince Edward Theatre, wasn't it? Huge. I mean, J. Alexander was MD on it, musical director. It's a huge orchestra, and it was phenomenal. But it doesn't happen often where you've got an orchestra of that size in a long run in the West End or anywhere really in tour and stuff. I mean, tour you couldn't do it. So economically, I've worked it on television. I mean, I've worked in Ireland, television, you know, with big 60, 70, 80 piece orchestras for that time. But as for touring or a kind of West End show, you'd never get that. You'd never, it wouldn't be economically viable, you know, to do that. So you've got to, it's a different structure. So that's how rare these opportunities are to do something like Evita with an orchestra that size, with a cast of 75, plus the choir of 20 by 30, which are out in one of the boxes in the theatre. It was just, wow. And the dancers, I mean, dancers are just phenomenal. It was just really, I wish, you know, I immediately thought these people back home would just love to be here, you know, to see this. So my daughter came out and my other half came out to see it. And then my producer, my best friend, Toby Cruz, came out. We've done a lot of stuff together, like the China tour. He said, oh, I've got to come and see this. So he came out on the 19th, on the day. So the last performance, we all left together on the Monday. So it was just, yeah, it was very different and came out of nowhere, like these things do.
It's always amazing that the best opportunities are unexpected.
Oh, exactly. And as I say, you know, it's like you have, sometimes, you know, people find themselves in at the deep end. Sometimes that's a great thing because you don't have a lot of time to make the decision. Am I going to do it? Am I not going to do it? And sometimes you put in, as I say, into the deep end, so you've got to think on your feet. And sometimes that pulls things out of you that you didn't realize were there or were scared of. But here, you ain't got time to be scared. You see, you've got to either react to the opportunity and adversity, like I, you know, said to you earlier before we started. You know, it's not about the adversity; it's about how you handle it.
Yes.
How you approach it, and how that's part of your path. And you are going to get through it, and it is going to go there. So yeah. But I love the, what's the word? You can't really think of the right word. The unpredictable nature of our business sometimes. I don't mind. I mean, 3 days before I came back, I was in Spain. I got the call about going to Slovenia. I said, well, I'm getting back 3 days later. Oh, we need you kind of here yesterday, really. I said, well, I got to get back because, you know, obviously I got to pick up stuff and whatever the stuff I need there because I've been in a hot country in Spain. And I'm going to Slovenia. But actually, with the weather was quite nice. But I didn't have any winter clothes or stuff like that. But so I didn't actually manage to get home. So things like that. So I got there. So 3 days. So one day I'm thinking, oh, I'm just going to enjoy the next 3 days of this holiday. That's 3 days before it ends. Then on the 4th day, I'm in Slovenia because I fly back to the UK and the next day I fly straight out. So it's, but that's what we do. It's very, it can be very nomadic, you know, our business, but it's exciting. It's exciting. I certainly don't lead a boring life. It always happens to me though, these things. Oh, can you do this show? When's it opening? Tomorrow. You know, things like that. No pressure. But it's fun. I like being sometimes challenged in that way. Although a lot of people, we all like rehearsals, but sometimes I don't know, there's a certain energy that you get from being, I don't know, not under the cosh, but under pressure to do something. There's certain energy that comes out in you that the audience feel that as well. Now, you don't have to tell them anything, but it goes through whatever you're doing. It penetrates through, and it's that's why opening nights are so different from the next night and your final night, because your final night's like, oh, it's really emotional because you're saying goodbye to people, and it's driven a different way. Whereas the opening night is like terror sometimes, you know. So, but they all feel that. They all feel that kind of that emotion, you know, from everyone, and everyone feels it in a different way. So it's very exciting. Yeah, I don't like to over rehearse things. I've kind of used that as a mantle for the future, not to over rehearse it. So you leave some down to, you know, I'm going to say just
raw.
Pardon?
Just feels raw for you.
Yeah, well, it's got some spontaneity. That's
Yeah.
it. You know, spontaneity about it. And always with actors, we're taught, you know, obviously over the years, you learn, you know, to be, as though you know the script and you know it inside out. You learn how to be spontaneous. So there is no script. You just said it. You know, that kind of thing. But yeah, it's been an interesting time, and I've known you for quite a while now. I mean, it's got to be 10 years, hasn't it, since we've been chatting and doing little interviews and things that, you know, just generally in touch.
Yeah, that's
I
great
think
to follow you and all your work.
it's nice. I mean, you know, of course, we went through all the, I won't say the word, but you know, the big long break the world had, you know, all that kind of stuff. And it's yeah, it's been an interesting journey, hasn't it? But it's great to see how these like Phantom, particularly. It's a really good year I don't know why it just happened this year that the three Phantoms in concert was going to happen, and it's sort of because effectively, although it's 39 years, Phantom is currently now into its 40th year.
Yes.
It's, you know, it's actually in there, so that's quite great because that's also my anniversary in the business. I started 40 years ago. So I'm going to coincide. I've been in Phantom. So the 40th year in the business is going to coincide with Phantom.
That's really amazing coincidence.
I just realized that in the last couple of days. Of course. And then the Phantom thing, and it's almost like someone else is working away. I'm just, you know something. Yeah, so 40 years of Phantom. But actually, I've realized that it's 40 years of me
Yes.
in the business. And it's just.
And it's 40 years of as well.
And Les Miserables as well. I mean, it's quite wow. And then Phantom concert, you know, we did Phantom, we can't do the three Phantoms. And that was 20 years ago. Practically I did the first one of those, but we did a one-off. It was a one-off, and I never quite knew what I was going to do with it. But we did some other little parts, some corporate things, and we did some various one-off. There's only been one-offs. There've been a tour. This is the first time I've, you know, toured this. And with some lovely people. So yeah, and I've got a great AV team, you know, on this, all the visual team from Wales, and I've worked with them quite a bit, so they're quite excited for it as well. And really, in a cathedral, you don't need to build a set. It's already there. You just have to light it. You just have to not enhance, but just, how can I say, expose the beauty that's already there in a way that's not been before, with colors, with lights, with Phantom colors, with, you know, with whatever what we need. But it's all there. So it's like you've got your set, haven't you?
Yes.
So yeah, I'm really excited. It's just going to be good, and it's not going to be long. I mean, I'm going away before then, but I'll be yeah, it's just in the throes now of sorting out a lot of the content, which I know we know what we're doing, but it's not just Phantom, of course. It'll be Phantom, there'll be Les Mis in there, there'll be other musicals we've done, there'll be some opera, there'll be some maybe some sacred stuff as well, you know. So yeah, it'll be interesting, but it's just getting all these You know, to do the show, you got to get all the information to everybody. That's the most important thing. Yeah, but it's good. And of course, we've got the how's things going with the Le Cave? Everything sort of going all right there?
Yes, we need to. Well, there's still some plans we have to talk about later in the future for next year, of course. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, it's a beautiful. That would be. It's a beautiful project, you know, to work on. Obviously, there's a different kind of setup and drive to do with what we want to do with that. But it's such an important thing, isn't it?
Yes.
You know, it's such without Gaston Leroux, you know, would we be talking now? That's the question people need. Anybody, I think, has been associated with Phantom in any kind of way, whether it's Maury Eston's Phantom, whether it's Andrew Lloyd Webber's Phantom, whether it's anybody's Phantom, because you know there's Ken Hill's, there's a few. Obviously, the most famous, Andrew Lloyd Webber, of course. But how many mortgages has that paid? How many beautiful evenings have been had by audiences, you know, worldwide? Without Gaston Leroux, where would we be? Where would we be?
It created so much music and movies and everything, and
yeah, so much about Phantom and even ideas and things. So yeah, I mean, movies and the ideas that have been derived from just the idea of Phantom.
Absolutely. And sometimes you're watching a TV show or a movie, you think, well, that's actually based on Phantom, and then you suddenly see it.
Yeah. So it's the catalyst for so many things. Particularly this incredible musical has been running for 40 years. And I think the magnitude of it, I don't think people realize. So I hope, and I'm sure it'll be the case that everyone will get behind that and get the car where it should be, you know, and to go forward. I think it's an integral part of our history, Phantom, our culture, everything, and in Paris, where it all began, you know.
Yes.
So yeah, no, it'll be phenomenal. But it's great to have projects to look forward to, and that's something else. You know, we'll obviously discuss, you know, as we go through. So yeah, no, it's some lovely things going on. I'm off to I'm going to South Korea next. Would you believe? South Korea. I know. Some like I know from Slovenia to South Korea, and then yeah, I'll come back from there, and then of course I'll be doing the tour. But I'll do China as well, and we'll end up in Hong Kong. But then I'll fly back, and then we'll be off to do the tour, which would be lovely. Yeah, it'd be really good. So yeah, no, I love you. You've got the Les Mis and the Phantom in the background there. I should have got mine out. I've got a few down here, but I've been sorting out my place, and yeah, I've got the Manchester ones as well as the London ones.
It's also amazing that Les Mis and Phantom would be created in 1 year apart. Because
amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
1985, September 1985, then October 1985, and then you got Phantom just a year later. It's yeah, and totally different writers that were to then follow through, you know, because from Les Mis, Phantom, and then Sunset Boulevard, Saigon, you know, it all started to go. It's such a golden era, and a totally even on from Chess, which of course opened first in it's 1981 done in London, and then prior to that you had Superstar and Evita, you know, Superstar, Evita, and so forth.
Yes.
But Les Mis in the 80s and Phantom in the 80s, that sort of was a birth of another era of same writers, of course, but just the 80s was fascinating, wasn't it?
It was, and I think with these two musicals,
yeah, but generally with music, the 80s, I find it a most fascinating era. It's like it didn't really know what it was, the 80s, but it did because of that. because there was such a myriad of diversity within music, and it almost seemed like there was nowhere you couldn't go, and that was the 80s. So it was the perfect time, I think, for Phantom, for Les Mis, because there was such diversity within the 80s musically. And you look back at it now, and it's the most requested thing when you do a party, and for background music things. So we're having a big party with friends or whatever. What are we going to for? Oh, 80s music.
Yes.
Because you get all the Bon Jovi stuff as well. You're like, we're living on a prayer. We go, and everyone's singing. It's the 90s was totally different.
It was.
It was great, but the 80s is like, wow. It's like the 60s, isn't it? The swinging 60s. Then you had the 70s, which was a bit weird, bit sort of weirdish, wasn't it? Sort of in not really knowing what it was, but some amazing things came out in the 70s of growth. But the 80s was just explosion.
We need
Duran
to
Duran, and, you know, all these great, amazing pop bands, you know, that came out. Just and such an array of music that you never really see now. You know, so yeah, no, so I love the 80s, and because obviously it was the birth of two great shows I was involved in. So, and the friends and the people you meet, the people you work with, it's just a gift for life, really, isn't it? You know,
Awesome.
oh, it's amazing. You know, I never take it for granted, and I'm always in contact with someone somewhere, within weeks of each other, that have been part of the original productions I've been part of. We're always in contact somewhere. So it's yeah. So the story goes on in our lives. I mean, I've seen people, you know, I've witnessed relationships grow with friends and stuff. Like I've you know, had friendships, you know, in these various companies, and you witness people getting together, you know, sort of like in a relationship, and you witness them getting engaged, and then they're getting married, and sometimes they get divorced. No, it's life, you know. And yeah, it's everything happens in a company, and people have adversities and stuff, difficulties, life difficulties to throw it on, but the company is like a family. And from my experience, it certainly in those times was a great support. It's like a big, massive family. Anybody have a problem? And the West End was like a family too. Every single show was linked. If somebody had a problem, I don't know. I think I remember there's one time somebody had a problem with sort of an immigration problem because lost her husband, you know, who was British, and she wasn't British, and they were going to deport her.
No.
So we thought, nah, no, you can't do this. So they could practically the whole West End wrote to the Home Office and said, and she had a child as well, you know, stuff like that. No. This ain't gonna. And the whole West End spoke, and that was powerful, you know. And of course, she's still here today, obviously, you know. And so those things, we really, it's a great world, and it's a galvanized world. And I think these 40th anniversaries and things that happen to realize that's what makes a show. It's not just the show and the great writing, but I think it's people, it's the companies that continue night after night to create those amazing moments, despite what's going on in our life, despite their adversity, despite anything. They're there for the public, who also have had adversities, who are also there for different reasons. There could be 50 different reasons for cumulatively, that audience is there. You could go in, might have just got married, might have got a first date. It can be anything, can't it? It could be something darker. They might have lost someone, and or they just don't know what to do with themselves, or they're a bit agoraphobic and they just want to fight it, and it's their first night. There's so many reasons, isn't there, for an audience to be there? So as actors and as people performing, that's what you have to do. Just for the composer, fundamentally, that's your job, but it's the people. And I think the actors speak, company speaks, the piece itself speaks, then they speak and they say, we want to see more of this. And I think that's what you're witnessing with great musicals like Phantom and Les Mis. And it's a fascinating thing. And I know people now, they want to know more about these times, the ones that are in it now. Say, how was it back then? How was it then? And I tell them and they go, no social media? Seriously? Don't know. No, we got sellout shows. We had no social media. It was word of mouth and Peter Thompson and, you know, and that kind of, you know, press agents. That was it. There was nobody on, you know, there wasn't even mobile phones, you know, let alone social media, or just about, there wasn't really computers. I sound really old now, don't I?
What are some of your biggest memories of Les Mis and Phantom with things on stage or with things you went through with the cast?
There's a myriad, you know, and for lots of different reasons. There is, of course, funny things. There are, you know, some wonderful emotional moments within the piece and what that brings out. Obviously, there's, you know, we gain people, we also lose people too, and that's that stuff. That stuff, and you know, this thing, the show must go on.
Yes.
That's Freddie Mercury's, you know. So I do it in my one-man show, and I say, as he said, you know, that many, you know, just before the end, the show must go on, and that's people say that, don't they? They say, there we go, you've been busy all day, but and then you got the show at night. Show must go on, and I think they don't quite realize sometimes, you know, the show must go on in quite grave situations, and a company pulled together to support each other to do that. Well, I've been in a company where we've lost people, and yeah, it's been challenging. But I've been in a company where there's been hilarious things happen, you know, especially Phantom. You know, we both, you know, sort of suddenly nudging you from the rear, just having a life of its own. Because when the cabs used to have radio signals, now it's all mobile phones and everything. It's just all done through different means. But when the taxis used to actually use radio signals, it would interfere with the radio control boat. So sometimes the boat would have a life of its own. So you're supposed to get out of the boat as a Phantom or something, and it's taking you back into the wings, you know, and then it won't come back out. So once I get out of the boat, I literally pick the bloody thing up and pull it into position, you know, and pretend to be swimming because it's a lake, of course, you know. But yeah, there's been a few things, and a couple of accidents actually, you know, in the show. There's lots of things that have happened because of our art ability to do. Some things can be a little bit, I don't know, on the edge, dangerous if they're not executed, you know, properly, you know. And there can be lots of reasons for that. But yeah, there's lots of myriad stuff. But most of it is incredibly positive. And even when it wasn't, it was the positivity of a company coming together and supporting each other and that kind of thing. But I got nothing but fun really, and it was an amazing outlet for any difficult things that went on in my life. It was like a total haven, I guess, you know, that you could sort of really immerse in. And I know, I mean, really, Phantom, I'm telling you, it saved my life, saved me, because it was very traumatic for one period of my life. But I had the show. I had the 8 shows a week, and I had, you know, say Eric, you know, to, you know, because you had to. The show must go on. So although it was tough, really tough at times, it was great. It was there because as I get through, I realized that there was some kind of, I don't know, there was something really cathartic about my performance for sure. Sometimes I was so terrified. I used to, Christine's come off stage, they'd be terrified, you know. You go, have I upset you? I said, pardon? Have I upset you or something? Just the way you looked at me in the lair, it was just like, oh, and I went, oh, bless you, you know. But it was so, I just channeled anything through the role. It's a good job I I had that. So yeah, so I have lots of very powerful memories, happy, funny, hilarious. Some I can't talk about, but you know what I mean. But only because it's the way. Not that it's anything you know negative or anything. It's just obviously privacy and stuff like that. With people and stuff through difficult times. But yeah, I've helped people. They've helped me. It's that sort of thing. But overall, what a ride. An incredible ride, and to see it still selling now and still doing even more than it's ever done and growing. Both late, especially Phantom, no, it's yeah, and three of my children were born while I was doing Phantom, in different companies, but three of them, and the other was lame. The other person was lame is. The other one was there's only one high society, I think. So yeah, all future babies. Oh, but amazing, an amazing time.
Especially the character of Eric must be a good way to release yourself when you're in pain because you can express it through him.
Exactly. I mean, obviously, it's you're in a painful time, so it's not it's just about challenge. There's an immense amount of energy. It's very, very powerful. I say to people, you can't get misguided with it. You can't get misdirect it. But it holds such a vast amount of energy when you're going through difficult adversities in your private life. But it holds an immense amount of energy. So it's about taking that energy, don't waste it. Because it's there. You wished it wasn't, but it is. And you're an actor, so what are you gonna do? So all that energy, you take that out, and then I have to redirect it into that drive of what I was doing with Phantom for Derek, if you like. And it was powerful. It was a great solace. It was a great savior, really. It really was. And I don't say to be quote a cliche just because I did 1,000 performances of it, but it's like no, totally that. Thank you, Eric. Saved my life, man. Seriously, and thank God it was there. And I'm still 4 years later, I'm still doing something connected with Phantom. It's lovely. It's an incredible score, isn't it? An incredible story, but it's not something I'll never leave me with, ever.
I think it's what connects fans, especially when they first get to the show. They often connect to Eric the Phantom because usually they have experienced the pain, or a lot of fans started young when they were the outsider, bullied at school, and then to focus themselves on the Phantom, they could feel also release the pain and anger through him.
Exactly. It's a very passive, powerful figure. It's a powerful character. And then, of course, it's been interpreted in many different ways, through text and things like that. But, when you play him, you find more than that because you're feeling it through. So, and everyone's different. Anyone was that ever played it. And of course, yeah, as you say, it affects people even witnessing that. And it's a trigger. I think Phantom's probably got to be one of the biggest, has the biggest triggers in it musically for an audience.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So, yeah. But it's one of those things. I gotta get to a rehearsal after I finish with yourself. I've got to nip off to. So it never stops here, Dannii. It never stops. But that's a good thing, isn't it? We get lots of good things to talk about in the future, So you good? Everything's going well there, and congratulations on and it's always a joy. So.
Well, thank you so much for returning to the show, and of course I hope to see you again soon, especially next year for all the Phantom plans, of course.
Absolutely. We'll do a weekly slot. We'll get a weekly slot in, chat with that Mike, Dannii and Mike. There we go. What's happened this week? you know. Oh, bless you.
Thanks.
Well, thank you so much. It's been a big cheers once again to your big 50, and we'll chat again soon. You've been amazing.
Okay, thank you, and
Thank you.
bye.
Behind the Mirror of Music with Dannii Cohen.